Every time a quarterback has a great rookie season, entering their second year, you always hear the same old cliches. Oh, they're going to have a sophomore slump because defensive coordinators have more film on them. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes won MVPs in their second seasons. Joe Burrow, in his second year playing for the Bengals, coming off a broken leg, took them to the Super Bowl. Not every quarterback that has a good rookie season has a sophomore slump. Jayden Daniels has been put in a situation that makes it nearly impossible for him to regress in his second season playing for the Commanders. He often gets compared to C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud had a sophomore slump because the Houston Texans neglected to improve their offensive line, and that hindered him. Jayden Daniels isn't in the same situation that C.J. Stroud was in last year. The Washington Commanders improved their offensive line. They traded for Laremy Tunsil. They drafted a really good offensive tackle out of Oregon. They also improved his supporting cast. It is not the same situation that C.J. Stroud was in. Every quarterback that has a successful rookie campaign doesn't always regress in their second season. What separates Jayden Daniels from some of the other quarterbacks that we have seen have sophomore slumps is that he has a team, a coaching staff, and a front office that is committed to giving him everything possible for him to have the most success. You can only be as good as the team that you have around you. No matter how good you may be, you can only elevate a team to a certain extent. The most important thing that a quarterback needs to perform at a high level is a good offensive line. When you think of some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL right now, Jalen Hurts, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar, something that they all have in common is that they have a good supporting cast and they have somewhat decent offensive lines outside of Joe Burrow. But even then, elite quarterbacks are expected to overcome certain limitations, which we saw Jayden Daniels do last year. He took the Washington Commanders to the NFC Championship when before the season, they weren't even expected to win more than 8 games. Jayden Daniels is not your average quarterback. When you're able to take a franchise that has been irrelevant and one of the biggest running jokes in the NFL for well over 2 decades to 1 game shy of making it to the Super Bowl, you are cut differently. It's not fair to Jayden Daniels to put him in the box with C.J. Stroud when they were in 2 different situations. And even then, C.J. Stroud was balling out in the playoffs. The Chargers were the favorites in that wild card game against the Texans. And that's when C.J. Stroud played his best football. The whole assumption that Jayden Daniels is going to regress in year 2 is based off these worn out cliches that everybody in the league is getting better, they're getting more film on him, and he's not improving at all. That's bullshit. You make it seem like these defensive coordinators are scheming for Jayden Daniels, and he's not watching film himself. He's not putting in the work to get better. There have been countless quarterbacks that have played in the NFL that didn't regress in year 2, and the ones that did either weren't that good or didn't have a good situation going into their second season, and that's why they weren't able to elevate their level of play in their sophomore year. Sophomore slumps are more than just a quarterback regressing. It's about the team regressing. You need to have a good roster around you for you to flourish. Jayden Daniels has that. All the Commanders did was get better. They didn't get worse at any position. You can't get worse when the expectations were so low for you last year. To overachieve the way that they did is a testament to how good of a quarterback Jayden Daniels is. He already is a top 5 quarterback in my eyes. You don't need 2-3 years to figure out Jayden Daniels is one of the best at his position. There were not too many quarterbacks in this league that could have went as far as what Jayden Daniels did with this below average Commanders roster that he had in his first season in the league. That's why I don't understand these whole presumptions that he's destined to fall off in year 2. What about Bo Nix? Is he going to fall off in year 2? I don't hear nobody putting sophomore slump claims to him when he should be the one who, if anybody, should be destined to have a sophomore slump based off how easy the Broncos' schedule was and the fact that they had a losing record against teams with winning records. I don't hear nobody saying that Caleb Williams is going to have a sophomore slump. Contrary to popular belief, he had a pretty solid rookie season. But why is it that Jayden Daniels is the one that all of a sudden is just destined to fall off? Andy Dalton didn't fall off after he had a good rookie season. There have been so many examples of quarterbacks that were able to elevate their level of play in year 2 after having a good rookie season. But we want to overlook this because we want to find a way to knock off what already has been one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, that being Jayden Daniels. I don't agree with it. I really don't. Jayden Daniels, I would not be surprised if we see the Commanders once again back in the NFC Championship. He is the most talented quarterback in the NFC in terms of how accurately he throws the football, and with how dynamic he is running the football, he virtually is unstoppable. That's why I don't see him having a sophomore slump. He has a way better situation going into his second season compared to what C.J. Stroud had. C.J. Stroud lost 2 of his best receivers at some point during the 2024 season. Nico Collins got banged up. Tank Dell was out for the season once again, and the offensive line was garbage. Jayden Daniels isn't in that same situation. He has one of the best play callers in the league, and Cliff Kingsbury. He's going to be able to adapt. He's going to be able to further expand this offense around Jayden Daniels' skill set. The Houston Texans, they fired their offensive coordinator last year. This is not the same situation that C.J. Stroud was in when you think of what Jayden Daniels has going into his second year.